Welcome, 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 welcome. You're in Ray's Juke Joint, but you are here with Eric and Ray. So that means this is the Pickoff Show where we talk baseball, baseball only, strictly baseball, because guess what? It's baseball season, people. Eric, the SBC champ, how you doing today?
Good, buddy. Good, good, good. It is baseball season. It is.
It doesn't it feel good to see that most of your timeline and talk is all about baseball right now? Like, I don't think you understand the drama and the just the disgusting just nature of fucking Twitter outside of baseball. Like baseball is like civilized and special.
I tell you, like,
You know what I mean?
yeah, and I know, like, you know, you guys in Chicago with that other sport are going through it too. Like, I mean, I don't even have some of that stuff, and it flows over into my timeline, or whatever the
It's
case.
it's unbearable, Eric. And I get involved at the most minute level of conversation with the guys and friends of ours and stuff like that. Like at the very minute level. Like I don't want to talk about it. I mean, these guys wake up, Eric. You wouldn't believe this. Let me just tell you, these guys wake up 7:30 in the morning, talking the same shit they talked about 7:30 the day before,
Yeah,
and the
I
day
don't get
before
it.
that, and the day before that. It's crazy. I don't know, Eric. Like there's so much more things happening, and I just enjoy baseball. You know?
And I think the conversations, and what we're bringing here and the stuff too is like it's educational. It's different situations, different things, and I see so many people that are just stuck in not having an open mind. Let's just say, and like this is the way that it's got to be, and it's the only way it's got to be. When that's not life. That's just not the way things work.
Yeah, I mean, it's that's not the way things work. But what has been working, I try to have a segue and use that as a segue.
There you
But
go. I like it. I like it.
yeah, but I mean, is it really working? Let's get
No.
to it. Let's just get to it, Eric. Let's not even waste no time. Let's get to the Chicago White Sox. The reason why we're here, they started the 2024 season last week. And we're going to talk about a couple lineups that Grifol has put out this year.
Yeah.
I only grabbed a couple, and I wanted just to talk about them a little bit later. And I wanted to talk about just some of the things we've seen in the preseason games. I know I've watched two of them. They only televised two, I believe.
Yeah. I think so.
So but they're playing right now. Supposedly, Dominic Fletcher is actually showing up right now, but who knows? And then Grifol hasn't really been talking that much. He did do an interview. Shout out to Sox Machine. I didn't see it till late, so I didn't get a chance to like send off the permission to use the article and stuff. But they did do an article with the interview blurbs that they had from the interview with James Reagan. So he had an interview with Grifol, and we haven't really made any moves because all of we got one of them dugouts that look like like the Padres, like the
Yeah.
Angels. You saw that stuff?
Yeah.
They were
Crazy.
like, they were like, it was 80 dudes in the dugout. You know what I mean? It's crazy. So let's just
No,
get
I
to
think.
it, man.
Yeah, I think we.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, let's go. No, I was gonna say,
I
yeah. I think what are we down to? Like 68 people in camp or something because of a
Yeah,
couple
we're down to
injuries. But
68. I think we lost
it's a,
another one
it's a
today.
lot. It's a
I think
lot.
we lost another one today. I think our friend Sox Nick said that here's a guy you won't see on you definitely won't see on the open day roster. Came in with 2/3 innings pitch and gave up 3 runs. So I'm pretty
Oh
sure.
yeah.
Yeah,
Ellard, yeah.
yeah, that guy. Mhm. All right, here we go. Throw the first. Let's go to GM manager news. Like I said, Grifol did do an interview with Sox Machine, but like I said, I didn't get any permissions to use the
Yeah.
information. So, but what have you seen out of Grifol during the spring training that is kind of, or have you heard anything, or what's going on? Eric?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you want to do the lineup stuff now, but I think we could learn a little bit from that game two lineup. I'm assuming that's the one you grabbed.
I
That
grabbed,
had
I
Benintendi,
grabbed,
Moncada.
yeah. I mean, I
Yeah,
guess we could get right into it. I mean, we can.
if
What
we're
did I
talking
have?
about managerial decisions, like I thought we could learn or deem a few things from the second lineup that they put out, not necessarily the opening day one, but the second.
Before we get started, Eric, he said he hopes you have to change your name because this is horse.
I will adjust it. It'll say 2-time or back to back. I don't know which one it's going to say yet. We haven't decided.
But so yeah, let's go ahead and just look at the lineup.
Yeah, grab one of those because I think that's probably.
Which one you want? I got the Arizona. I
want the game 2. It should have been one of Benintendi, Makata, Robert.
There it
is.
Yeah,
let's go right here. So
Seattle.
this was game 2. So a few things you can deem from this is I'm guessing for the most part. Oh no, this wasn't the one I was thinking.
All right, hold on. Let me see. This one. It was this one.
This one. Yeah.
Yep.
So like a few things you could deem from here. A little bit that I thought was interesting was. It looks like he's going to go Benintendi, Makata, Robert, Eloy, Vaughn, Fletcher. Looks like the lineup, which I hate.
Yes, you hate that. I hate it too, actually.
Yeah, I knew that was the one lineup I didn't want to see in the top 5. But it looks like how he's going to roll. I think on an earlier lineup, maybe on opening day, Fletcher was in center field. So that kind of gives us a little bit of a hint that he might serve as like the 4th outfielder. If I saw opening day's lineup correctly, which I'm pretty sure I did, I think he was slated in center field against the Cubs. Was it?
Yeah. I might have not pulled that one.
Because it was.
I could pull it real quick. But go ahead.
Yeah. So it was Fletcher. He started in center field for the Cubs. So looking at that, maybe he is going to be the replacement for when Robert needs a day off. Maybe he's that guy, and that kind of might help with some of the bench pieces. So it looks like the top 6 in the order is set. Then you're looking at shortstop, catcher, and second base, and probably going to get a handful there. I think Lopez is going to bat 9th. So DeJean or Shoemaker, and then who's ever catching that day, probably 7, 8 is what I could deem from the early lineups that we've seen.
Yeah, I seen a couple guys that kind of like jumped off at the screen, but I'll get into that once we start reviewing those games, kind of sort of. But as far as lineup construction, I don't know what Grifol. What is that? I don't know what Grifol is, thinking with Benny, Yohan, Luis, Eloy. I mean, even though Eloy did have a nice hit the other day, but I just don't know.
He had a double game today. I don't mind Eloy. I don't mind Eloy in the 4-hole, of course. Like I don't get why Robert and Eloy are 2 most dangerous hitters. I don't get why they're not 2-3 or 1-2 or vice versa. Like you're never going to convince me that giving Benintendi and Makata more at bats is the correct way to construct a lineup. You're just never going to convince me that. I can't wait till the first time we have
right here.
Till we have like the 9th inning and Nicky Lopez is coming up in a 9-hole. We got to wait 4 batters to get to Robert when he should be hitting that inning. You know what I mean? So I don't care for it, but it looks like that's the direction he's going.
Yeah, here's the opening day that you asked for. I did find it and put it up real quick. And
I thought it was very interesting that Fletcher was already center field. So to me, that gives you some when you're worried about how you're going to, and we're going to talk about that now, I suppose, because we're in the GM part, like how, or the manager's part, like what we think the bench is going to be. If Fletcher is going to roll center field when Robert stays off, that kind of solves that.
I mean, he's been in what, 3 or 4 games Fletcher has. So I mean, you're going to see it. But shout out to our friend. You haven't really talked to Robert yet. We have a friend, Robert Shaw. He's fairly new around the Scumbags camp. But Robert is an older guy with a wealth of knowledge of baseball, but he likes to talk everything, especially that other subject. Yeah. He does know baseball. I will give him that. But he brought up Tim Elko the day of the game, and I hadn't really looked into Tim.
Yeah.
And sure enough, went out there and he hit a nuke. And it was.
What's interesting about Elko is obviously, of course, he went to the same college that Taylor went to.
Oh yeah.
They both were from Ole Miss.
Well, he went to Ole Miss. He was like
to
the Ole Miss and stuff when they won the championship, right?
Yeah. And the other thing, And the other thing that's pretty neat about him a little bit is, so I've logged, and I hope the Sox stay on it. The draft strategy the last few years, I've been a big fan of. Overpaying, and, not last year, overpaying the one hole, but they saved it for George later on in the 7. But overpaying 1, 2, and 3, throwing like a cheap guy in or whatever. Elko was that cheap guy they threw in. I think they took him in the 5th or 6th round. He only got like a $30,000 signing bonus. It wasn't much of an ordeal, but he was one to save money in order to, to spend money on some other talent, or whatever the case. But I mean, I think his battle play, one thing
he wasn't Rule 5, was he? No, he couldn't have been Rule 5. I don't know what I'm
No, we drafted him 5th or 6th round, maybe 7th, and very little signing bonus. Like I said, he was like the cap saver for like the earlier rounds that we had spent more money on. Some of the guys, he was the guy you mix in to save or be able to manage that budget. But, one thing last show you were right on and I was wrong was like, and what I'm curious on, and I know we're going to get right to it on this part too, but like Eloy is gone after this year. Like I can't see him picking up their option. So you're looking at Eloy and Makata both traded probably by midseason. It's like it's going to be a weird year to be a Sox fan. You're rooting for your players to do good just to see them so you can figure out what kind of trade bait you can get for them. Whatever the case.
I know about 3 guys that are going to cry when Makata gets traded. Whenever it happens, I think you have to trade him. You don't want to be in a situation like the Cubs were in last year, where you could have flipped assets, with the Bellinger situation.
Not only that, I hope they ship some money out to get some prospects. Like they're going to have to find a unique way to build this team. The White Sox are not a free agent destination. The outfield set for next year. You're going to have Bettini, Robert, and Fletcher. You're going to have Vaughn still at first. I'm assuming Ramos will come up and probably take some time at third once Makata's traded.
I was told he's not a major league third baseman.
I disagree. I don't know who got you that one, but
I'll let you know. We'll talk about that next week after we see Ramos a couple of times. But I was told he's not a major league third baseman. I was told that.
Yeah, I disagree. So I think you'll see him play third, probably halfway through the year, or whatever. Probably since he's already on the 40-man roster.
And you disagree with having the by the end of the year. This was my comment to the person. By the end of the year, Montgomery and Ramos have a chance to be in September, the left side of the infield.
So I for sure don't think Montgomery is a major league shortstop. And I don't think they're going to put him on that big of a rush. He isn't on the 40-man yet. So I don't think they're going to bring him up this year. And he's only played, I want to say it's less than 80 games in Double-A.
Yeah, he's right at 81.
Is that what it is? Yeah, I knew it wasn't very many. So, I'm assuming, and this is going to lead up to the next topic, I'm assuming the plan for him is he's going to start in Double-A, then halfway through the year, go up to Triple-A, then maybe get him next year to either – and I'm curious to see if they just switch positions at some point this year. But, for a team that supposedly is – and I hope they stick to it. I don't care what their plan is. They just have to stick to it. So, if it's defense up the middle and you can't be throwing Montgomery at shortstop, he's already not a defensive guy. You can't be throwing him at shortstop. So, does he move to second? At some point, does he move to third? He has an arm. It looks like to maybe play some third. But it's going to be interesting to see what they do. But that's why I think I said it yesterday, and you and I talked about it, but I think Mendick makes a team. I think they cut Sosa. They both only have one option left, and Mendick's major league ready now. I can never see a spot for Sosa on the team next year. I would assume the plan is Ramos will start at third. Popeye will start at second. They'll probably use that Zach Remillard. Probably Remillard. He'll play short to start the year, probably in Charlotte, with eventually Montgomery possibly coming or somebody else coming, there for short. The other kid you can't forget about, is a guy they drafted first round last year that already has college ball experience. Gonzalez, is supposedly the talk of the camp, talk of everything. I guess he's fixed whatever problem he's had. I guess he's been hitting the ball really good, and he's got power. So where do all these guys fit in? That's
Gonzalez. Like who?
Jacob Gonzalez, the guy that we drafted number 1 last year.
Yeah.
So, and he also was Ole Miss. and he's a shortstop there too. So like, where is Sosa going to play? Like, what are they going to do with him? Like, he's almost like he's the odd man out in this scenario. So I think Mendick makes a big look.
He's logged a lot of the AAA minutes. I mean, AAA time. So yeah, he's
only got one option left, so they'd have to put him on the 26-man roster next year, and I can't see any spots or any room for that. So, like, I'm gonna guess that's the counter move there. But I agree with you on Ramos. I don't think they're gonna rush Montgomery that fast. He's not on the 40 yet. He wouldn't have to be on the 40 until the end of this year, or whatever, because he is Rule 5 eligible. Should be anyway. Yep, I think he will be. So. But, I mean, potentially, maybe they want to give him some bats and move him all the way up, but he better look pretty good starting Double-A. That's a big jump.
Yeah. I think he's going to be, I haven't even – has he had an at-bat in the spring?
Yeah, he played yesterday. They started yesterday. Yeah, he played a little bit.
Yeah. So let's get into the review of the games. Let's get into, like, the – go to second spring training games review. So some of the things that I saw that I wanted to talk about was defense is better.
Yeah,
defense is better. That's the number one thing that I saw on the games that I saw. Even with the backups, the defense is better in my opinion. Especially the second game where we saw Nicky and we saw DeJong up the middle. Along with Maldonado, along with Fletcher, along with what was that outfielder's name? Because he looked decent. I can't even think of his name. But anyway, what I'm saying is, what I saw a better defensive infield, and I like that. You know what I mean? Like DeJong and Nicky are going to be pretty good up the middle. DeJong's bat and Nicky's bat are to be desired. But defensively, they're solid. The other thing I saw was I've talked about Tim Elko already. That was a shocker. I didn't know he had that kind of pop. I really didn't know much about the kid. And I saw in the win where they came back, I saw scrappiness, and that was, even though it's spring training, that was a thing we've been talking about. How are they going to score runs? How are they going to score runs? How are they going to manufacture runs? And they did it to win a game. And guess who got the hit?
Yeah, the catcher to be, right?
The catcher to be, Edgar Cuero, right? I know it's hard. Cuero is one of the hardest things to say in Spanish. But yeah, Edgar Cuero. He had a nice little shot past the third baseman. And brought the guy home after we had the game won. You think about it, E.
Yeah.
It was 5-3, right?
Yeah.
It was 5-3. And then hey baby. It was 5-3 and they gave it up. And we had to win it in the ninth. It was a walk-off. So it was pretty dope. What did you see over those the games that you saw?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's interesting. And this is going to go into, how we're going to see the roster build too. I feel like they've ran quite a bit. I feel like the stolen bases attempts compared to last year, and that's what we're going to have to do. I mean, that's what we're building a team around, right? It's supposed to be defensive, athletic, and more stolen bases. But I saw 2 of the games we had 4 or 5 stolen bases, and that's just something different that we hadn't seen. So I thought that was pretty interesting. I saw Schumacher got one. I saw Popeye got one. I just saw some of the guys were running a little bit. So it got me. What I believe, the best way to win baseball games is to slug. But there are other ways to win it. And if we're going to try to win it with defense and stolen bases, that's what I want to see. And that's why I just don't think you're going to see some of the bench players that people think you're going to see make the team, because what's the purpose of having a stationary guy out there that can't run or can't steal the bases? If we're trying to give the manager choices for pinch running, athleticism deals, I think that's where you got to look for how the bench is going to be built. I don't think you're going to see Moose. I don't think you're going to see some of these guys that people are predicting you're going to see.
Yeah, I mean, as of last week, we talked about Mendick, we talked about DeLoach, we talked about Sheets, and we talked about Stacy. Like Stacey and Sheets are pretty much locked. Even though I haven't seen Sheets. I don't think I've seen Sheets.
Yeah, he's played a little bit. I would say, obviously Stacey's for sure a lock.
Yeah.
I'd say, if I had to go, I might go Mendick, Sheets, and Schumacher maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe have the road start in the AAA, but like that gives you speed, gives you Mendick can play every spot on the field.
Every spot on the field.
Every spot on the field, right? And then if we know now that Fletcher is going to take over for center and Robert stays off, Sheets can man the corner to give somebody a day off every here and there or whatever. I think that's the way right now I would say the bench is going to roll.
Yeah. Today's game, they played the Rangers. They lost 4-2. But according to the box score, Makata went 2 for 3 with a run.
Mm-hmm.
Eloy went 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs.
He had a double, I think.
Yep. Deloach went 1 for 1. Pinch hitter for Eloy. And Mendick went 1 for 3. So that's who had the hits today.
What I'm most curious about, and I know you got the clip because I sent it to you, is when you look at this team, Ray, and what we're trying to do this year, how am I supposed to be excited for next year? If I know Makata's gone, Eloy's gone,
Mm-hmm.
you got Schrock on a 1-year deal.
Mm-hmm.
So even if he shows up, he's gone. DeJong's on a 1-year deal. He's gone.
Mm-hmm.
We know the White Sox shouldn't be, can't, won't be frontline spenders in free agency. Where does 10, 15 more wins come next season as the team sits? And that's why I'm still convinced. I think they just move Cease.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that in 1 second. We're gonna get to that in 1 second.
Yeah.
So I wanted to try to get back to that win. Let me go back to that win that we had against Seattle, the 8-7 win.
Yep.
Edgar Cuero had the walk off, but nothing happened until the 5th or 6th inning. But then that's when they started ripping up. Makata had a good day that day.
Well, and then the catcher from Houston they got in the Graveman deal, he had a home run and a double. I think he had 3 RBIs. Lee.
Yep. He Corey Lee.
Yep.
Corey Lee. And I wanted to talk about him. That's the reason why I wanted to go back to that. Corey Lee is almost forgotten. But do you see him playing other positions in the future to come up? Because I think Cuero is the catcher of the future. Corey, if he's ever going to make the team, if he's ever going to make the 26, I think he has to play something else. I don't.
Yeah.
Unless they're going to go 1-2 with them 2 young guys.
Yeah, that's my guess, Ray.
That's
my guess.
Okay.
I think that's my guess. I think Lee kind of plays that backup role there,
right,
or whatever behind Cuero as it goes.
So I didn't know. I was trying to think of if he could play first base or maybe an outfield position, but
I just don't think he's got. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's actually very athletic for a catcher.
That's what I was.
Yeah. He is very athletic for a catcher. He actually has stolen bases and stuff. Which you almost never hear from a catcher.
Right.
I just don't know if he's got the bat to hold down any of those positions.
Right.
I'm not saying he couldn't do what Grandal did a little bit when he would give a guy a day off at first or something, whatever. But
what did Grandal do?
Not much last year. Not much.
Yeah, I'm just.
That again. I know we're going to get into it, but that's a danger of free agency. You see what giving him that 1 extra year did, right?
Yeah.
You have to get him in your free agency. They kind of dictate and control the terms. That's why I don't think the White Sox are done moving people.
Yeah, I think you when you brought up the kid Shoemaker last week, he got on my radar.
Yeah,
he went 1 for 2 again in that game, and he had a hit. Or he had a couple of bats today,
and he stole a base in that game too, I believe.
Yeah. So, I kind of, I'm glad you brought him to my attention because Eric, to be honest, I did not have him on my radar as far as somebody that could potentially push to get on the 26 or definitely on the 40. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean you're looking at a former number 1 draft pick that. Don't get me, people don't need to mistake it. He was the number 15th ranked prospect in Atlanta's organization when we traded for him.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's absolutely, I mean, so like being a number 15 prospect in Atlanta's organization is definitely nothing to shy away from.
Right. Yeah. And so that's another reason why, like, he had a chance to show us what he could do. And I think the White Sox that took a shine to him because, like, he's in the lineup. Like, he's getting penciled in and he's coming in damn near every game.
Yeah, and we talked
about shortstop. And that's another reason.
And we talked about it, last deal, but he had 16 homers, 27 stolen bases, and 28 doubles in 122 games last year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I know it's AAA, but he's obviously athletic. Obviously has a little bit of pop. I mean, if that's a full season of 145, 150 games, you're looking at a guy that hit 20 home runs, stole 30 bases, and had 30 doubles at the AAA level that can field a little bit. So I think he's going to push DeJong for sure. And I'm not for sure if he's not your shortstop the second half of the season because I think they're going to hold back Montgomery still. Like I said, I don't think it's going to be a shortstop anyway.
Yeah, I'm gonna clip that one and put that one out, Eric, because I don't think people are ready to hear that conversation.
Yeah. I think he'll push DeJong for sure, and I think he's our second half shortstop.
Yeah, like I just don't think that people are understanding. Like, this team is not built to win. There are some delusional fans that think that the 64 or 63 and a half that Vegas has for us is, I know some people say the over, but I got some people telling me they're going to win 80 games. And I'm like, you're out of your mind.
Well, you have to realize, like, how good do you think this team looks if you take Cease out, Makata out, Eloy out? I don't know if anybody else even has value, but if, Soroka will be gone. If he's showing anything, he's a trade piece.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to trade anybody out of the bullpen that's on a one-year deal. They're going.
Mm-hmm.
It's not part of the future. Like, it's going to be another sellers, even though I think they'll possibly do some buying. But that's my question, Ray. I could see a scenario. Could I see him winning 70, 72? Yeah. Could I see him winning 55? Yeah, I could see either, or whatever. It's literally how much does some of the people stay healthy and at what part are they traded and what part do they go?
As far as the pitchers are concerned, we haven't seen any of the pitchers we want to see yet.
Yeah.
We haven't seen. But has anybody stood out to you with their performance?
The kid I'm probably most interested in, I think the starting rotation's set. I think it's going to be Cease, the Eric kid from
Eddie Fedde.
Eddie Fedde from Dio, Soraka, Kopech, and Flexen. I think that'll be your starting five. The kid I'm probably most interested in the bullpen, and he pitched today, 5 pitches, strikeout, and 2 flyouts to center, is a Jordan Leisure kid. We got him in part of the Dodgers trade.
Mm-hmm.
He had 123 stuff plus 4-seamer last year in AAA and a 116 stuff plus slider. So, that for a relief pitcher, I mean, he's going to remind you of one of your favorites when he comes out, and that was Raylo. This is nasty fastball, nasty slider, man. Like, that's going to be his 2-pitch deal. And I'm interested to see. Right now, he's not projected to make the squad, but I wonder if he don't push because he'll be Rule 5. So at some point, you'll probably see him this year too.
Another guy that when I saw him was Lambert. I said, Lambert's still here?
Yeah.
Jimmy is still here? I didn't realize Jimmy was still here.
Yeah.
But I think Jimmy is in the running to stay in the bullpen.
I think he'll stay. I think he'll make the club. I think he'll make the club in the bullpen.
He actually, to me, he looked good. From what I saw on the highlights, it was just like a little clip that somebody had from the stadium or whatever, because it wasn't televised yesterday. But he looked good in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love pitching. Like, pitching has become my favorite part of the game, as you know.
Yep.
And I think that the Sox just brought in a bunch of arms, and they're going to see what shakes. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people are saying, like you said, the guy who pitched today, Nastriani.
Yeah.
Nastriani, I think he's got some talent in his arm.
I like him. I like him a lot. I'll be really to see how he does in Charlotte. I'll be really interested, or whatever. Like, obviously, people got to be careful. Don't be going off ERA in Charlotte, as you used to live down there.
Mm-hmm.
It's a boom box down there.
It's a boom
whatever.
Box, it is.
But no, I love him, and I I'll tell you, I think the best pitcher in the Sox system is the kid from Miami that they got for Jake Berger. I think Jake Eder is going to be fantastic, the left-hander.
Yeah. Edgar, right?
Fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. He's dope. Yeah. But I mean, like I said, we haven't even seen these kids that we're talking about. Really, like we haven't seen none of the starters. We haven't seen any of the.
I think you're right. I think the only people of interest we've probably seen is Leisure went.
Mm-hmm.
The kid went today. What was his name? Mastrani went today, right?
Mastriani.
And I think Cannon went. I think Cannon went maybe in the Arizona game.
I don't know. I can't remember.
Yeah, Cannon went the Arizona game, 2 innings, gave up nothing, 2 Ks. Mm. So he was a 3rd-round pick. We overpaid a slot. He's from Georgia. Mm-hmm. Really good control, really deal. I thought it was interesting he actually got an invite to the camp this year. So it makes me think that, that maybe, he's short on the horizon too to be fast-tracked. So, to be honest, I think I'll be watching a lot of games in Charlotte this year. There's a lot of interesting stuff going on down there.
Yeah. So let's get back into this because you sent this to me and I was like, okay. So this is our part of the show. This is the throw to third. This is where we kind of look at some predictions, look at some trade things or some things outside of the box that people may not know about. So let's go to our throw to third. Let's go to some White Sox predictions. So Eric, excuse me, I'm gonna put it up. You sent this to me. Let me know where you got it from. Make sure we give credit to the
it's Bob Nightingale out of his paper. He writes for USA Today.
Okay, so this was Bob Nightingale out of the paper.
You can see his little typo there. Package for Snell. It's supposed to say sneeze in the bottom, but
okay.
A couple things need to transpire, but where does Snell end up? That was part of this piece. Where's the deal? And then back to the Sox trying to build a competitive core. The only way they're going to be able to truly do it is they got to trade some more pieces that have value. And Cease obviously should be the first one to go. You're never going to want to extend somebody like Cease, especially with his makeup and his deal and stuff like that. Won't be necessarily something you would look to do. So he's got the highest trade value or second highest trade value. And maybe it's third now. I think Montgomery's right with him. Second or third highest trade value on the team. So can they get a major league talent? And I don't know. Did you see that home run that Jones hit?
Yes. Yes. And
he stole like 41 bases last year too?
Yeah. I've been messing with Ian because of our fantasy team.
Yeah.
Fantasy stuff. Ian wanted him and Asinine plucked him pick before him, which was kind of like, he just snaked him. So he's been on like a don't show me any more Spencer Jones clips. Don't show me anymore. I don't want to see it. Da 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 da. He hates him. Da 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 da. Gonzo says Schuster, Eder, Cannon, and Bush are still in camp.
Yeah.
And then Payette is
he won't be in camp just because of the surgery. But I'm interested. He was a number 2 pick that would have been a first rounder, but he had the Tommy John surgery. I think Arkansas. So
I remember him. He's a hard thrower.
Yeah.
But yeah, so to me when I read that, teams are still interested in Dylan Cease. Teams are still calling the Sox. They're saying, hey, what do we have to do to get him? So if the White Sox are saying, hey, we need Spencer Jones back, that means they're placing a value on that means like when they were talking to the Baltimore Orioles, they were insisting on Mayo. They were insisting on I
would have guessed Cowser out of that organization.
Or Hurstad
would have been one of their sticking points, whatever.
Cowser or Hurstad or one of them, what I'm saying? Somebody with some bop.
Not without somebody that's ready now. They don't want to trade back for like kids, or whatever. Right. They don't want to trade back for 18 and 19-year-olds. They need somebody that's major league ready now that they can pair with, Fletcher, and Robert, and some of these guys that got a little bit of control left, on their contract. So I just thought it was interesting. I still think I don't think it's a matter of if he gets traded. It's just a matter of when. and who's going to come off of one of the pieces they're asking for. Every spring training injury you hear from an arm automatically piques my interest. Who could they have? Maybe the Sox would be interested in. But you got to get Blake Snell and Boris to figure out his contract stuff and get him off the market. Could you get him off the market? And with Burns already gone from Milwaukee, it's like Cease is one of the last pegs standing if you can get Montgomery and Snell off the market.
Yeah, let's talk about the Scott Boras situation. I wanted you to break down because we kind of spoke on it a little bit, and you called it a win-win. When Boras went to the table with Jed Hoyer and the Cubs, and this is not a Cubs show, so you Cubs fans don't get all fucking happy because we're talking contract stuff, okay? So you said it was a win-win. Boras gave him $30 million for basically for the next 2 years if Belly shows improves and he has an opt-out after year 1 after $30 million, year 2 after $30 million, and then year 3 after $20 million. So the club option kicks in year 3, right? Eric, did I read that?
I think they're both player, aren't they?
No. The first 2 years are player. I think
the third one's
a club. Yeah. So but explain to me why you say that's a win-win situation for Bellinger and for the Cubs, because I love contract stuff. So
yeah, I wish we could have. I should have prepared a little better. There was a quote. We should find it for next show that Boras made when the Padres signed Hosmer to that big contract. Like, I'm glad that all the analytical guys aren't just controlling baseball. You don't understand what a deal means, and they paid $140 for like one F4 out of Hosmer in 4 years or something, something crazy. But this is, people were saying Bellinger was going to get $200 million. People were saying Bellinger was going to get $150. And you and I, when we've talked, I told you he's big bust potential in my opinion. Now he's always going to have the defense. He's always going to be able to run a little bit. But you're talking about a guy that you're big into Savant now, whatever, a lot bigger than you used to be. You're talking about a guy that had a 10% hard hit rate.
Oh no.
You're talking about a guy that had 26 barrels and had 26 home runs. Like the perfect storm. Like that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
The guy hit, if you look up like his slash line with 2 strikes, it was something insane last year. Like, it's just like I felt like not everything went right. So the Cubs are ready to compete now. Kind of sucks for them that they got a player option, because if Belly goes out and is terrible, he's just going to opt in, or whatever, because he ain't going to go back on the market. And if he does too good, he's going to opt out and go try to sign a guaranteed longer deal. But I think it's a win-win because the Cubs get a player right now that helps them compete this year. They are tied to him for next year for sure, but they got a chance to go out and win right now. Bellinger got the AAV that he wanted. And he's got control over his destiny, being able to opt out. If he does go out and show what he can do, and if he does have another great year, he can opt out, and he has complete control of his future there. So that's why I think it's kind of a win-win. The Cubs got the guy. They were hoping to put him over the top in the Central. They didn't have to guarantee $150 million, $200 million out for years and years and years, because the Cubs still have a pretty decent farm system, as much as I hate to say it, but they do. They still have some young talent around there. So they got what they wanted. And then also on the other side, Belly gets to control his future. He got his $30 million he wanted for this year. He gets to opt out if he can go out and prove it again and go get a long-term deal at the end of this year.
Yeah. So I was just doing some like research for, how they we got the MLB app on our phone.
Yeah.
So on and so whatever. And they, notifications pop up, whatever. And it came up and it said, here's some dark horse candidates for opening day rosters for each team. They gave us 31 each for each team. Before we go too far, Gonzo says that Trey Cease signed him as a free agent, then signed Roki Saki. That's his hope for the next 2 years with at least 2 bats. So yeah, that's a shot in the dark, Gonzo. I'm not sure if that's going to happen. Yeah. And then he also said Sox payroll starts in 25 stars at 98 before club options. They could knock off 52 million of that if they decline these options.
They will. But the one thing that people have to realize is like the White Sox I hate to say it, but we're the second team in the city. We're a dysfunctional organization. We are not somebody who wants to come here and play for the White Sox. This isn't the old days of free agency where somebody's like, whoever pays me the most money, I go there. We lost Zach Wheeler. We lost Machado. Like, we lost players that we've been in on. People do not want to come to the White Sox. So you can forget those frontier free agents. You can just wipe them off the board. Forget it.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that.
Yeah, so they're saying Jordan Leisure. This is off MLB.com. Shout out to MLB.com. They're saying that Ethan Katz recently asked veteran outfielder Andrew Benintendi, aka shout out to Northwest Indiana Steve, who coined Benintendi noodle arm. Noodle boy. Noodle boy. To name the best guy he's faced in spring training for the White Sox, and Leisure's name popped up. The right-hander was acquired with Nick Nastrini. I got to learn how to say that, from the Dodgers for Lance Lynn and Joe Kelly. And he seems to be the closer of the future, viewed by some as the team's closer of the future. High velocity fastball with nice carry to go with a wipeout slider and a curve he worked on this offseason. Leisure could be a camp surprise. So I wanted to bring that up because I saw that and I had to go look at some things for him just to see who the kid is. And he does. And if you look at, how you told me that you can see the StatCast stuff from AAA and all that good stuff?
Yeah.
He's got stuff plus.
Yeah, 123 four-seamer, 116 slider, stuff plus, like last year in AAA.
Yeah,
and he also is going to be Rule 5 at the end of this year, so he's got to make the roster at some point.
Yeah, I held that one in my back pocket for you. When you brought his name up, I said Eric's going to be happy that I have that on.
Yeah, I hadn't even seen that.
I hadn't. So that's just kind of confirmation of that. Like when we're just like we're growing, Eric, and I want our show to grow. I want our channel to grow. I want more people to get eyes on us or whatever, because like I spend a lot of time researching, and I know you do too.
Yeah.
And I think that, it's more of a, hey, here's some things you may not know about the White Sox. Here's some things you may not know about how teams move money-wise. Here's some things you may not know about roster construction, aka lineup construction during the season, so on and so forth, that we're going to just try to bring forward to the light more and more and more as we go. Savant and Baseball Reference and some other, outside sources and people that we starting to get to know a lot, to bring better content to, you brought up Leisure and you didn't even know I had that in the back.
I didn't even know you had it.
So that was just like, hey, Eric, my guy Eric does his research. I do my research. And then sometimes there becomes a melding of the minds between us. And I love it. You know what I mean? That's
the best stuff, and it is. It's supposed to be a different perspective. It's stuff that people don't want to talk about. I'll tell you something else that's not going to be on our show. Like, it's easy to be the negative Nelly, the negative Nancy guy. But you know what? That don't help nobody. Like, where are we at now? How do you turn the corner, and what do you think you'll see going forward? Or whatever the case. And that's what we're going to continue to try to bring the deal out. Like, understanding why Mendick is probably the only non-roster invite, I would guess, other than some pitching, that probably gets an accepted deal, and why they're going to cut Sosa. People don't understand. They both have one option left, and Sosa don't have a fit for the team next year. Mendick can play every position now, and he can go back and forth if need be. So this year, he still has an option available. So, I think that's a move you're going to see, and I'm not for sure people watch the games that way.
Yeah. Shout out to Gonzo and his platform, the Blackout Show. I was happy to go on there last year. And he's here now just watching the show, and he's making comments and everything. And the Blackout Show with Ozzie Jr., Slav, Justin, and Gonzo is doing well. They're doing good stuff over there. They had a show the other day, and I still haven't finished watching it, Gonzo, and I don't know where the 78 was, but we're gonna get there. But Gonzo said that Leisure will have success once he pounds the zone with his stuff. The analytics is cute, but the battle is controlled with pitch mix. That's what he's saying.
Pitch mix doesn't matter with the closer as much. You're just gonna, like I said, he's Raylo Jr. It was a little bit higher stuff, a little bit. actually plays a little bit better than what Raylo's stuff played.
Yeah. So let's go here, and then this is funny because we're going to get into a little bit of fantasy baseball news, a little bit of fantasy baseball stuff. I'm pretty happy, and Eric is pretty happy right now with a couple guys that we picked up on our teams, and I want you to tell us about your endeavor or our endeavor or however you ever.
Yeah, I gotta send us something. I
Yeah.
gotta send us something.
Yeah, so let me just throw that. Here's the throw home. Let's get up some fantasy baseball news, and we're going to always talk fantasy baseball because we're highly in tune with the fantasy baseball world because we're in a dynasty league together where we're opponents, and now we are. Eric has kindly got us involved with a big time league. But before we get to that, Eric, I want to show you this. I pulled this, and I think this is it right here. There it is. George Lombard Jr. as well as for his next two in line. This is from Doc Holliday's Dynasty Stash, Doc's Dynasty Stash. Shout out to him on Twitter.
You know what's funny? What's funny, Ray? We didn't talk about this either. This is whose leagues we just joined. It's Doc's.
Oh, really? That's you see what I'm saying? It just
like it just kind of comes together, right?
It just kind of happens. That's crazy. Like, because I pulled this because I just typed in George Lombard's name, and I was just like, oh, let me just see what's what, and I pulled this, and below this is a video of him hitting a freaking nuke. Yeah. Eric, you picked him in I want to say the 7th round, 8th round of the minor league draft.
Right.
I think so.
It was late.
Huh?
It was late.
Yeah, it might have been later. I don't have the results in front of me, but yeah, what made you go out and pick this kid? Because from what I saw, his swing is pure, it's repeatable, and he's got some freaking twitch in those hips, buddy.
And he can run, right? He can run. Like when you're looking at our fantasy league and the head-to-head stuff, same type of draft strategy I had going Julio,
right.
J-Ram, Trey Turner. You're talking these guys are just stat stuffers, right? I mean, you're talking average, you're talking stolen bases, you're talking extra base hits, you're talking runs. Those three guys, I'm going to get 300 plus runs. I'm going to get 100 plus stolen bases. I'm going to have 150-ish extra base hits. That's what we're looking for. And this kid has definitely got, like you said, he's got a sweet swing and he can run and he's got some power too. And I don't know, you're always scared drafting a Yankee, will the stage be too big for him? But with a name like George Lombard Jr., you would assume that it won't be. You assume that it won't be.
Yeah, and I was just like, man, hit on that. But George Lombard, going into that game, they were talking on that broadcast. I went back and watched it the other day. Well, yes, I went back and watched it yesterday, and they televise all their games, so you can see any Yankee.
Right.
Yeah, they televise all their spring training, and they're just talking about this kid is pushing everybody to get up to the major leagues. You know what I mean? Like he's down there showing and proving that he can hit the baseball and he could do some other things. So that was a good pick.
Well, I'd tell you something else. The guy that you were referencing that did from the Sox machine that used to write for The Athletic,
Fagan.
Fagan, yeah.
James Fagan, yeah.
Well, he is all about moving Dylan Cease too, and one of the names he wanted in the trade was George Lombard Jr.
Wow.
That's one of the names he wanted in the Cease move, or whatever. It's probably a little young for what the White Sox are looking for currently, I would guess, but it's interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah, so for me on my side of the game, I've been excited because I've been getting some shit from some guys from taking a kid over Walker Jenkins. The kid I took over Walker Jenkins was James Wood, and I don't know what it was about James Wood. I just his story, the fact that the Crime Dog gave me his stamp of approval for the kid. Crime Dog said this kid got it. And he's been working with Crime Dog too. Like you work with Fred McGriff as a left-hand hitter. Like you're getting some of the best advice, the best stuff. And over the weekend, this kid, is turning heads, as they say. MLB Network. Shout out to MLB Network's Twitter account. He hit 2 home runs, both of them 430 and over. I mean, just monster shots. And the kid is really just showing me like I might have made a good move because I think he's going to slug.
I think you did. I didn't have Walker Jenkins that high. I think when you're drafting the minor league guys, especially, you're looking more for ceiling types than you are floor types. Now, I think Jenkins has got a decent floor, but I don't think his ceiling's anywhere near James Woods' possible ceiling.
And that's where I was going. Like, for me, the hit tool on Woods was 60. They're saying he's got 70, 80 power potential.
Oh, yes.
Like, you know, and then I saw somebody say something like, stay away from these tall guys. There's only one Aaron Judge.
Yeah.
Like I saw that somewhere and I was like, that's just fuck. Like, thank you, Debbie Downer, because no, there's
not only that, like De La Cruz, O'Neal Cruz, like all these boys, like what happens? Ray, you and I are getting older in life.
Yeah.
You know what? The 5'7" guys that play shortstop don't have to be 5'7" anymore. They're more athletic, they're stronger, they're taller, they're better athletes. Like, you ever thought, could you imagine back when, you know, we were watching the Sox in 88, 90, seeing a 6'6" shortstop that could run like De La Cruz or O'Neal Cruz and
absolutely
hit the ball
and throw the ball as hard as those two do.
Oh yeah, insane.
I mean, it's insane. Like, it's some athletic ability. James Woods, they say he just covers everything from pole to pole. Like, if you only wanted one outfielder, he could do it. Like, he's that fast, he's that good tracking the ball. They haven't figured out, you know.
If he can cut down his swing and miss, if he can make a little more contact, he's dangerous.
Yeah.
He's dangerous.
Yeah, for sure.
I tell you, so I got us in. We'll talk a little bit about Doc's League, and we can do it next show. But
no, I want to talk about it now. Go ahead.
Yeah, we're in a keeper league. We got to keep 10 guys. Obviously, the roster wasn't the best, but we'll show the roster and stuff next week, and we debate on who we're going to keep and what we're going to do and some of that stuff. But
okay, so break it down. Last year we were in a points league, right? Just a 1-year points league, right?
Yep.
This year we started a dynasty league where we have a 26-man roster plus we have a minor league system consisting of 12 guys.
Correct.
Right. And then we have we have more than 20. Yeah, no, we have a 26-man roster. Yes. So it's a 26-man roster plus the 12 guys in the minors that we have to manage, you know, consistently over the year. You know, bring guys up from the minors, send guys down, put people, you know, on the street, basically. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But what is a keeper league? I've never.
So a keeper is like a half breed of both.
Okay.
You keep 10 players off your roster and you restart and somebody starts drafting 11-1. So you got these 10 as your core.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's a redraft every year for the rest of the league, or whatever the case. So one thing we're going to have to do is we're going to have to look to get active and maybe make some trades, because some teams are probably more stacked. Ours is not, you know, or whatever. But some people probably, you know, they might have solid players and they can only keep 10. So can we upgrade our 8th, 9th, and 10th spot? But this will be a little bit of a different breed. This won't be a head-to-head. This will be a roto league. Let's see. They're, you know, a little bit less starting lineups than we have. But we're doing strikeouts, ERA, whip, quality starts, saves, plus holds. We're doing runs, home runs, RBI, stolen bases, on-base percentage. But this will be like
on-base percentage is a category?
Wow. Yeah, instead of batting average, it's
right.
On-base percentage. So, like, that'll change some of our plans. But this will be like, did you get in home runs, are you 10 out of 10 or are you 5 out of 10? That's how many points you go.
Oh, and wow.
So the total of every category will be the dangerous people in the league. So, like, you know, you might give up a category to try to get past other categories, for example, or whatever the case. But
so
where you rank.
So we're literally in this guy's league that I put up.
Yeah, isn't that funny? That's literally
crazy. That's crazy. So
and he's over on the stat line stats. Man, I don't want to mess it up for him.
Yeah, well, he's
on Statline Scout. Statline Scout is his site, or he participates on. They do a lot of fantasy stuff. He's already said he'll come on the program with us too at some point. Talk about us and show us some stuff.
So next week we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna just recaps if anything is moving, so on and so forth. But I want to spend the back half of the show Monday, getting involved with this because this is talk through it because I don't know, and I'm not sure a lot of our viewers know what a Roto League is.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that next week, and we can look at our 10 players and look how we're going to who we're going to think about keeping and what categories we need to draft around and draft for, and we can talk through it.
We'll do that. So this week right now, Eric, like I said, the Sox lost today to the Texas Rangers, the World Series champion Texas Rangers, who didn't play nobody basically.
Right.
You know what I mean? I do have a little worry about Corey Seager. You heard that news? Yeah. Like, I don't know. Like, I love Corey Seager too, but I need him to be healthy. There's another guy over there that's a utility guy that I absolutely love, Ezekiel Duran.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that kid is like, they play him everywhere, and he produces and he hits at a decent clip. You think they have a chance in repeating?
It's always so hard. Like, I know we're going to get in the gambling part of the session, but they would be my number one bet against, probably on the unders.
Okay, wait.
Season 1 totals.
Hold on. Let me see what the futures Rangers is. Hold on. I want to see what the. Let me go over to. I'm gonna go to FanDuel and see what the futures is for. Let's see futures.
And they got to be pushing what, 92, 80, 92 would be my guess.
What
wins? What are they pushing?
Oh, I gotta see. Hold on. I gotta. It's doing this authentication device thingy. You know how you gotta talk in a minute.
Yeah.
All right. So World Series. Right now, 320 for the Dodgers, plus 320 for the Dodgers, plus 450 for the Braves, plus 700 for the Astros, plus 800 for the Yankees, and then plus 1,400 for the Rangers, plus 1,500 for the.
Can you find the win totals? Because that's what.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, hold on. Let's see. Win totals. Let's go. Let's see. Who we want? We want the Rangers, right?
Yeah. What's the Rangers win total?
All right. Over under 89.5.
Yeah. I was hoping maybe get in the 90s, but they'd be a bet against. Don't love the staff.
So take the under 89.5?
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be one. I release 3 every year, and that'll be one for sure. I'll be under 89.5 on the Rangers. I think the West is better. I don't love their pitching staff. I think repeating's too hard. I think too many things went right last year. Like, I'm not high on the Rangers.
What about? Let me just, since we're here, we just get your thoughts on 93.5 over under for the Yankees.
Under until they can prove me different. I mean, has there been a worse ran franchise in the last decade than the New York Yankees?
Yeah,
all the money in the world, and you can't beat Tampa ever.
The Padres.
Never beat them? Padres sellers at the deadline under. Playing in the NL West, they ain't gonna be able to beat the Dodgers. I mean, maybe they try to hang around for a wild card. I mean, I would go under.
Yeah, I don't know what the Padres. I don't know what their over under is. It's probably low. Hold on, let's see.
Yeah, I bet it's probably 500, just over, right?
It's 81.5.
Yeah, 500, 81 and 81. Yeah, I figured it's right there.
Yeah. But one of the surprising ones in our division. You ready for the surprising one in our division?
Yeah, I'm gonna guess it's the Royals.
Yep. 73.5.
Yeah. I like what they did in the offseason. I don't know how they don't become sellers again. I don't know how everybody in the Central is not going to become a seller. Like, I just don't think any of those teams can compete on the long end of it. But I do love what the Royals did in the offseason.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I mean, they got right now. They're saying that the Astros are going to win the American League.
They got them as a favorite.
Favorites. Gonzo says Detroit takes the AL Central.
I like Detroit a lot. I don't know if I like them this year, but I think they got a pretty decent young club.
I
I think
think
the White
Minnesota
Sox.
takes it this year. I hate to
I
say
think
it.
they're probably too seasoned. I probably would agree with you, Ray. But
Yeah.
I do like Detroit's got some good youth there for sure. Clark and
Hey, this is insane.
pitchers.
Plus 165 for Dodgers, plus 250 for the Braves.
So on the pennant or the series on the pennant. I mean, that's what everybody thinks when it comes down to. But like again, Dodgers better show me something. I mean, great regular season team, terrible postseason team.
I'm gonna put a little bit of money. I might put a little bit of money on. I love Arizona. I love Arizona. I love Arizona. They added Jock Peterson and Eugenio Suarez to their team from last year, and basically kept the rest of the team.
See, they got the Tigers at 80.5 wins. Man, I can't see that. Not yet.
Yeah. They legit have the Cub as a fifth option for the National League. Plus 17.
Yeah. And a lot of times when you're gambling, so you got to think about it too. When you're gambling, for example, Cubs, Yankees, Dodgers, any of your big names, they're always going to be jacked up on the line. It ain't going to be a true number. Like you can literally make money. Just bet under the major teams every single year because everybody knows where the money's coming in. Everybody's going to be like, oh, the Dodgers. I'm sure their over-under is probably 102 or something.
So 103 and a half.
Yeah, like, you know what I mean? So, like, everybody's – who's betting that they're going to go 104 and 58, you know, or whatever it would be. Like, it's like, oh, wow, you know, or whatever. Like, they might, but I think there's going to be some good shift. The team to me that's just fascinating is going to be Baltimore. Ooh. Like after their first year of success, kids getting another year younger.
A lot of people
what
are
does
saying
Rodriguez and Bradish look like? Are they actually front lines? You add Corbin Burns. So now you kind of got a little bit of a 1-2-3 punch there, which I like. Like
with the young kids.
With the young kid. Yeah, so like
with Grayson Rodriguez. Back.
Yeah, Rodriguez, Bradish. So like what does that play out like? Because in the postseason, that looks pretty decent. Being able to throw those three guys out there. So I'm interested in Baltimore.
I mean, Grayson got some serious experience last year, and he played his pitches in the playoffs were decent. His outings. Showed up. He showed up.
Yeah,
I am interested because there is a major bet out there about who wins the AL East in the scumbag. So
yeah,
it's a jersey. Right now we got jersey bets all over the place.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. So
I'm sure.
I mean,
I'm down Tampa. I'm down New York. So that leaves Baltimore.
They're at 89.5, Eric. 89.5 win total.
Yeah, I'm going over. I'd play over in Baltimore. And I don't like to play the overs very often, but I play over in Baltimore. Now, everything could change next week. Do the Yankees sign Snow? Do they trade for Cease? But as they said now, you want me to trust that
they think Nestor is back.
Garrett Cole's been going backwards. Rodon hasn't been healthy for decades. I mean, 1 year.
Nestor looked good today.
Nestor looked good for the first part, fell apart, I think, in the second inning. But, is it possible he's there? But then they got the kid, who was the guy? Clark Smith?
Clark Smith,
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know they got Soto and Judge, but you got DJ LeMahieu, who's probably pushing, 37, 38?
Yeah, I think
Rizzo is showing signs of fatigue.
Yeah.
I know Stanton came in healthy. That's nice for once. He came in healthy, but he hasn't done anything.
Glaber's still there.
Glaber's still there.
The shortstop.
Andy Volpe or Volpe, but what has he done? How are they any better than they were last year? Other than I know you added Soto, but what else? Still can't pitch.
I sent a message to Asinine earlier today in a group chat, yo, I hate you for making me start to watch Juan Soto. I love that kid.
He's one of the best baseball players in the game, and he's going to be forever.
I mean,
whatever. Like,
oh my God, his approach is impeccable. It's like when you talk about approach, watch Juan Soto.
Yeah.
God
You almost wish he would swing more. Because
Right.
he's that talented too. To have to have that good of plate discipline and that kind of bat to ball both, like that's almost not fair. It's almost not fair. No, he's insane. Like, I mean, Asinine, love Asinine, still messed up. Could have just had him at 4. Nobody was taking him at high in fantasy.
Oh boy, we're not gonna shit on him.
Traded away for nothing.
Oh my God! Asinine moved up to get his guy, and I don't fault anybody for going to get their guy.
Yeah, that's the guy he wanted. It's his dynasty team, so I don't fault him either. I don't
fault him. All right, well, Eric,
I'm just glad he's got a soul. Like, to me, I don't care. I would trade anybody. I'm not attached to anybody. Like, nobody I'm attached to. Like, so I'm glad that he's got a soul at least down there.
Yeah, well, you sound like Justin. Did you see the plethora of Justin? He does moves just to make moves. He's dropped and picked up at least 10 guys in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, he is going to set a record again, I think, for most moves. Like, we haven't even started yet.
Yeah, so I can't wait for the season.
I think he just cut the guy that he was super high on from Boston. Like, I saw it come across my thing. Like, he cut him. I'm like, I thought that was your new love, and now he's cutting the streets.
Yeah, he's on the streets. He did drop him. Well, he loves the other kid more, I believe. What's his name? Well, he loves Wilder Abreu, but I think he loves the other kid that they have more than Wilder.
The first baseman.
Yeah, well, he doesn't even have Casas. There's another one. The one they got from he likes Von Grisham.
Yeah. That'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Man, Boston fans are just mad. I don't blame them though either. The old Red Sox are just, they used to compete with the Yankees on the spending and on the stuff and the deal, and now they got this whole new approach and like it's crazy.
Yeah, it's
crazy. They decided Liam when they already had Jansen. Like, what do you need 2 old dying closers for? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, well, I'm not even going to touch that. I'm not going to touch that one, E. I'm not touching that one. Oh, man, I'm not touching that one. That's funny. But, yeah, they do have some dinosaurs on the back end of their bullpen over there.
Yeah.
But I want the best for I want Liam to –
Of course.
I want Liam to give me just one of those, one of them fired up moments where I could just be like, there he is.
I just want to watch, since we're not going to get to watch the White Sox this year in big games. That's something I would love to turn on, the 9th inning of him playing the Yankees in September. That happened to be a battle or something, right?
Yeah, that would be great. That would be great.
That would be great.
All right, well, that's the Pickoff Show. I think we went through a lot of different things. Next week we're going to continue to look at the games, the White Sox games, and see what they'll be doing. Have a nice little review. Maybe we could get some interviews from out of Griffall. Some of the live.
I think you'll see some transactions too. They'll probably start trimming down the roster maybe by this time next week.
Yeah, so we're gonna have some roster updates more than likely. They're gonna have to start trimming some of the fat for real.
Yeah, reassign them to minor league camp or whatever. You probably see some of that stuff.
Yeah, so that's coming up next week, and then like I said, the back half of next week, I really want to get into I want to learn the roller league stuff.
So I'll add you right after this show as a co-manager, and you can kind of start playing around with it.
All right, cool. So thank you. Everybody that tuned in, this is the Pickoff Show, and we're going to turn the lights off on this biatch.